Howdy doody, guys. Well, I just couldn't go one more day without making another video for you. Okay, no, well, a couple of people requested a couple of videos for exponents, and so I thought I'd just go through a bunch of them here. Okay, I'll do probably two videos. This will be the first. I'll go for about 5 minutes. Just go through as many as we can. Okay, so let's start with question number one here. I know it's going 1, 3, 5, 7. We're going to ignore the evens. They're pretty much the same. So we'll just go through and do as many of these as we can. So we've got v to the third power times 2v. So please note that 2v is the same thing as 2 times v. Lots of students have asked, well, why don't we distribute to both of those? Well, it's because 2v is 2 times v, which means that these three things are all being multiplied together. Now, according to the associative property of multiplication, we can group things however we want, and the commutative property says we can move things around. That means we can really do this in whatever order we want. So we're going to multiply the v to the third times the v, and the v is the v to the first, and when you multiply things with the same base, then you add the exponent. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So that'll give us 2v to the fourth, and that's as simple as it gets. Let's look at question number 3. So question number 3 is a little bit different because it's the power of a power. The base and the power are both inside the parentheses being taken to the second power. That means I've got p to the third times p to the third, or p to the third squared. And so when you have the power of a power, you're just going to multiply the two. And so that will end up giving us p to the sixth. All right, let's do one that combines the last two ideas. Okay, we always follow PEMDAS, so I'm going to do the parentheses first, parentheses with the exponent on the outside. So again, we're going to be multiplying the exponents. Now again, please note, just like in number 1, 2v is the same thing as 3 into the cubed. This is multiplication. And when I have multiplication, sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing that. When I have multiplication, the squared has to go to both the n cubed and to the 3. Just to kind of show you why that is, if 3n to the third power squared is 3n to the third times 3n to the third, which means the 3 has to be squared and the n to the third has to be squared. And so you can see that the squared gets distributed to each of the pieces of that term. Yes, this is one term. In fact, this whole thing is one term because it's all multiplication. But we have to distribute the squared to each piece of that. So this is going to be 2n to the third times, and that'll be 3 squared, and then n to the third squared. And we just talked about how we multiply the exponents, so 3 times 2 would be 6. Now at this point, we can go ahead and put the n's together. So I'm going to have 2 times 3 squared. When I'm multiplying, just like up here, when I multiply n to the third and n to the sixth, I'm going to add the exponent. So that would be n to the ninth. All right. Now, if it says to leave it in exponent form, then this right here is completely fine. No problem. Otherwise, you'd have to square the 3, which is 9, and multiply by 2, which is 18. That shouldn't be a problem, but we'll just leave it in the nice exponential form for now. All right, so let's go ahead and let's add in a little bit of division now. Okay, but again, anytime you've got anything on the top or bottom, all that stuff is really in a group. It's in parentheses, so that's what we need to do first. So we're going to leave the r to the third alone on the top for just a minute. We're going to go 3r squared times 2r cubed. Well, 3 times 2 is 6. Again, just like what we were talking about up here, the associative and commutative properties allow us to do it whatever order we want. Whatever order we want. Whatever order. Yes, whatever order, as long as it's all multiplication. And in this case it is. So I can multiply the 3 times the 2, which is 6. I can multiply the r squared times the r cubed, which when I'm multiplying, I add the exponents. So that will be r to the fifth. Now at this point, I need to put the rest of the r's together. Now, when you multiply, you add the exponents. So therefore, when you divide, you subtract the exponents. So I'm going to go 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 is negative 2, so that will be r squared. The 6 is on the bottom. It hasn't done anything, therefore it needs to stay on the bottom. Now, having a negative exponent is never appropriate, so we learned before that we can solve that by taking it and moving that whole term, that whole piece of the term, sorry, down to the bottom, which means there's nothing left on the top, so we'll just leave a 1, and then 6r squared. So there you go, there's the first 4. Watch the next video if you want some harder ones.